the new exciting sport of electric hydrofoils, or eFoils in short, is taking over the world. Today, in our Ask Me Anything show, we have the honor of meeting Nick Leason, the creator of the first commercial electric hydrofoil called LIFTFOILS.
So, hi Nick, welcome to our show. A lot of people tried, but you were the first to develop our first commercially successful electric hydrofoil. So tell me how you came up with the original idea and what was your main inspiration. I just saw your original video of first prototype on Vimeo. You went such a long way.
Yeah, well, we were building hydrofoils for the last 10 years. And really, I kind of got into it. I don't know if you remember the brand Carafino. You ever see that one? I was like one of the first hydrofoils for kite surfing where they were trying to make it, you know, more lightweight carbon fiber as opposed to like the sky ski, which was really the original hydrofoil. And so that kind of got me into building hydrofoils for kite surfing. And we were building boards here in Puerto Rico. And so I did a lot of years just kind of building and testing hydrofoils, learning how to go about it, learning how to build it. And really the electric project came after that. And it really started with a friend of mine who just kind of called me up one day and he was looking at maybe putting on one of these hobby motors onto a foil. And we kind of got into a conversation of like, can you do it? Is that enough power? You think so? Like, is that really going to work? And it was just kind of like a brainstorming, just like a fun conversation that, you know, drifted off, and we didn't really pay much attention to it for a while. And then, it was hiking in the Alps with my girlfriend at the time, and we were in an altered state of mind. And I was like, man, actually, this thing's gonna be awesome. And I could just kind of see it clear as day. And I was like, this thing's gonna be amazing. This thing's gonna be, I gotta go home and build this thing. So I came back from that trip and kind of sacrificed part of my business that was going on at the moment to really dig in and try to build this. And we started off with kind of, you know, some really rough prototypes like you saw in that video. And but once you kind of got that first feeling and we knew that it was like possible and that it was actually pretty cool, you know, foiling down a river, not having a kite and stuff, it was game on. So it's been a long run from just those ideas and those initial prototypes to actually having a full, you know, product lineup and business around it. It has not been an easy task at all. It's taken a lot of sacrifice, a lot of hard work, a lot of years, and a big team effort too. I have a really awesome team over here that's helped me develop that company. So here we are. Yeah.
And you probably see there are so many startups are trying to do eFoils right now, and a lot of DIY projects, people trying to do it at home. And a lot of people think it's so easy. You just attach a motor to the foil and it's done. So why it's so complicated? Most people really fail when it comes down to make a successful eFoil. What's the main challenge making an eFoil, in your opinion?
Yeah, well, there's a big difference between kind of do-it-yourself hobby project and prototype and really a commercially viable product that you can manufacture in numbers and get out. It's a world of difference, and there's a much bigger commitment involved to making that happen that I don't think most people are really aware of unless they've gone through that process. I wasn't aware of it until I really went through the process, and you know, and also, I mean, to build the components from scratch and design the things from scratch is a very complicated thing to do, and it requires a lot of engineering teams and good engineers, and it requires a lot of money too, to develop that. And you have to find balance between all the components, and you have to be ready to encounter failures as well and pick yourself up again and do it again. And so I don't know that a lot of people are really aware of that or equipped to take on a project of that matter. I mean, if eventually you'll probably be able to buy a lot of those components finished, like off the shelf, and really just like assemble something, you know, kind of mix and match different components. If there's like a standard, and then it would be kind of a fun project that way. But when you really need to build it from scratch, it's not an easy thing to do. Maybe you can build the board, maybe you can build the wings, you know, but to build like a battery pack, for example, no. And you don't want to do that either. Like, I don't recommend anybody to just say, I'm gonna slap together a bunch of battery cells. Like, I don't recommend that at all. That's very dangerous. There's a lot of things that could go wrong there and cause big failure. So it's, you know, it's challenging. And like, you know, like we learned in engineering school, and it kind of holds true today, is when you're looking at a project, to do 80% of that project takes 20% of the work, and to finish that last 20% of the project takes 80% of the work. You know what I mean? So it's that last bit to really perfect it and get it that takes that bulk amount of energy to make it happen. And again, you just have to kind of go through it to really understand it, and you be willing to go to the distance.
Yeah, and most people really don't understand it's such a big difference making one prototype that works and then building a successful company that you can ship worldwide like you do. It's such
I mean, you have to love it. I mean, if somebody says, oh, I want to build one just because I'm really interested in learning about the process and building one, fantastic. If somebody goes, I'm going to build one because these things are too expensive and I just think I could build it cheaper myself, yeah, right. You're better off just to buy one that works really well. You know, if it's for saving money. But again, if you're really just like, yeah, I want to learn what goes into it because I like tinkering, then fantastic. But again, I'd be very careful with the battery pack. That's probably one of the most challenging components and most risky components that needs to be put together very well.
All right, and I know you're also doing traditional foils and not only eFoils. So what came first for you, traditional foils or eFoils?
Traditional foils, for sure. I mean, there's, you know, an evolution. And we were really primarily building foils for kite surfing. That was kind of like our sport and our thing. And we did a lot of racing as well. When the racing just started with hydrofoils, we were there, and it's really fun when those races first develop too, because it's a small group of people, you know, everybody, it's not super competitive. It's just kind of fun. And everybody's just kind of tinkering and designing before it gets really competitive, you know? And we learned a lot about building foil. I mean, I built a lot of wings, a lot of hydrofoils, and learned a lot about it. Most recently, at the same time as kind of putting out the eFoil, the world of surfing has adopted the hydrofoil, and we've kind of evolved into a different wing design, which is larger wings and thicker sections. You know, the Hawaiians were out there really ahead of the game on that one. And, you know, I got introduced to it by Lenny, and it just changed my world with the surfing foils. So I would say that I'm not as focused on the kiting as much these days. I'm more focused on the surfing, and now really enjoying like the wing, you know, the wing ding, where it's kind of the kite right in your hands. And so we've been doing a lot of those traditional foils too. And it's kind of a passion project more than anything, because I do go out and I surf every day on my foils. It's a good exercise for me, and I'm going to build wings. I'm going to design them no matter what. I'm going to build molds for them. So we make the lineup and I make it available for my customers. But the bulk of our business is really based on our eFoil and what we do there. But the other one, it really complements each other. And everything that I'm learning with the surf foils fills into our electric project. Like the wings that I just got samples of. In fact, I got one right here.
Okay.
Oh, like this guy right here. There's a brand new sample that just came in, and I've been surfing on it, and it's so incredibly efficient that I'm going, wow, this thing's gonna like take my battery life through the roof. You know, like I'll probably increase my battery life by like 25-30%. That's a lot just from that wing. So it's kind of cool how the two mix, you know. But classic foils definitely came first, then the electric, and we've got even some further evolutions that are coming that are going to be really cool.
All right, and speaking of the wings, can you just quickly cover what range of the wings do you offer right now?
I've got so many wings. It could be a little confusing for people, but we really have a wide range. I pretty much got, you know, to make it really easy, we've got from small to large. You know, we've got the larger wings are like a more stable platform. they go slower, but they lift at a lower speed. And like I say, it's just a larger surface area to stand on. Whereas the smaller wings are going to be for faster speeds, and they're going to naturally be more maneuverable. They're going to turn more. And so I really have a wide range from small to large, depending on who you are, what you want to do. They're all a lot of fun. And we've got everything's interchangeable. So I've got my classic lineup, which is like some of the older wings that I have, one pieces or slightly thinner profiles. So they're kind of slicier through the water, good for kiting, good for faster eFoiling. And then I've got like our whole surf series lineup, which are kind of thicker profiles. And they just, they have a little bit more of a surf feeling, but a little bit more resistance through the water. And now I have a new lineup that I'm just launching right now, which is our high aspect, which are the wider wingspans. And these are a little bit more rigid on the turns, but very efficient, gliders. And you just feel that light smoothness under your feet, just very little drag as you're gliding along. So lots of different wings. And then of course you can combine them with different tails, the different stabilizers in the back. So you can really loosen up. You could lock in a ride so it's more stable, like pitch stable, or you can also do like a smaller stabilizer to kind of loosen it up and have the back just sliding behind you. So lots of options there.
All right. And also aside of the wings, you have different sizes of the board as well. So let's say I'm new to eFoiling. What kind of setup would you recommend to get started?
It kind of depends on the person. First, I'd kind of look at their weight. Are they a bigger person, a smaller person? And then I'd look in and see, well, how frequently are you going to use this eFoil? Some people just want to use it a couple times. Some people have it on a boat and they have it for guests that are just, so it's going to be a new user every time. And other people are going to they're really into it. They're going to get it and they're going to be dedicated to the sport. So anybody who's going to be using it frequently, or if they're a smaller person, or if they're going to dedicate themselves, I try to push them towards the smaller boards, because I like riding my smallest board. It's easier to carry. It's really light and nimble flying over the water. It just feels like you have a really good connection with the foil. It's more of a skateboard. So we all tend to kind of ride that smaller board, but it can be a little bit challenging for those that are kind of getting into the sport and not doing it as frequently. And that's where I would say, well, you probably want to use the larger boards, like the 5.6 and the 6.2. 5.6 has tons of volume, plenty of stability, very easy to dominate and to ride. So the 5.0 and the 4.4, those are kind of our sporty and our pro versions. Those are going to be a little bit more challenging to get going, but really not that challenging. It's a matter of a couple hours of practice, and then you're going to appreciate that smaller size, because it's actually easier to fly through the air. Just not as much surface area on the water for planing.
All right. And what about the length of the mast? Which one do you recommend?
Well, right now I have one standard length that I sell. I mean, we can build any length that we want, really. If somebody calls in and wants kind of a custom order, I'm happy to do that for them. But we have one standard length for the mast that I just kind of felt, trying all the different sizes, I just kind of felt this is a good all-around size for that. I'll probably come out with maybe an additional option for customers, but I try to, keep it a little bit simple for people too, because they can kind of get lost in decisions. They're like, oh man, now there's all these boards and all these wings and I don't know which one to choose, so I don't like to get them too confused and try to keep it as simple as possible.
All right. And I had the chance to try LIFTFOILS myself 2 years ago in Slovenia. It was really fun. But what changed since then? Let me know what was introduced recently.
A lot of changes. So we have all different board lineup. So all different shapes, new wings, a whole bunch of new wings to combine with the boards. We've improved battery technology. I've improved our software in our hand controller. So we've got, 100 times the resolution and control at your fingertip. A lot of fine tuning of the product, over the units that we've gotten out. So every time we're tweaking and tuning and making it a better experience for the rider. And also too, there's a lot of things that people haven't really understood yet. There's a lot of little changes. Like for example, I never ride with the protective cover over the prop. I ride just an open prop, and that is a huge difference when you're out riding. It's more of a pro setup. It obviously has more danger, more risk to it because you have an exposed propeller. But once you're pretty good at foiling, you don't really feel like that's a danger. I don't feel the risk, and it's very light and efficient through the water. It's a whole different ride for foiling. I mean, they're two totally different products. So there's a lot of little bits and pieces that you can swap out and change to really change your ride. I mean, so like what you rode when you rode it, what I have in my backyard here, what I gave you or what I would give you right now to go out and ride is a totally different experience out on the water.
I see. And I also recently saw the new videos of legends like Lenny and Laird Hamilton riding your foils in Nazareth. So how
Laird Hamilton and Benny Ferris.
Yeah, how is the market is adapting to the foiling?
Oh, I think everybody loves hydrofoiling. I mean, you and I know that once you try it, it's pretty addicting. It really becomes a lifestyle. You know, I'm out foiling every single day myself. I've been doing it for now 10 years. We're like really seriously addicted. And it's the same with all of my friends over here. Everybody that gets into it, we're all out foiling now. We're out foiling on 1 foot waves. You know, if it's not electric, it's on a kite or it's on a wave. But just that feeling of flying and gliding over the water is something that you really can't let go of. And the whole world is kind of waking up to that. And it's not just in the world of surfing. You see it on sailboats all over the place, you know, like all these really cool sailing craft, even some new like, you know, electric pleasure craft are coming out with hydrofoils. So it's a much more evolved sensation of experiencing the water. And then you have the extreme athletes like Laird Hamilton and Benny Ferris and Lenny, where they're out, they want to ride some real big waves. You know, they want to see how fast and how big they can go. So we facilitate that as well, you know. Yeah, we're building really big wings for riding small surf, and then I'm also building these little tiny wings for massive surf going, you know, 40, 50 miles an hour. So it's pretty exciting, like the wide range of hydrofoiling and the wide range of people that are getting into it. That's kind of a cool thing about the eFoil too, is that, you know, I have somebody who's never surfed before and they're getting up and riding on the eFoil and they love it. And then at the same time, I have a legend like Laird Hamilton getting up on the eFoil and he loves it. They're on the same product. They both love it. They're both like, they get to share something, you know, an experience that most of the time you don't get to do.
Yeah, that's so much fun. Let's compare riding eFoil in the flat water and in the surf. So for people who never tried eFoil, they ask, what do you do when you ride eFoil in the surf? Do you like turn it off or you keep going using the throttle?
Well, I think the surf is a little bit more advanced for foiling because it's more dynamic, what's going on in the water. It takes another level of control, you know, of your board. But that's where, you know, that's kind of where our equipment is really designed, you know, because I live here on the ocean while I'm out in the surf all the time. That's where we've designed and tested our product. And so we've designed it for that resolution, like that you have in your hand controller, that you can really control those subtle movements of like up and down and around the waves. And we're using it for towing people. It's a lot of fun because it adds, you know, a more interesting feeling going around these waves. And like, it's an obstacle course, you know, it's like going through the dirt bike track. But it definitely takes a little bit of practice, but it's not something that's impossible. I always start people on flat water, and that's an incredible sensation too, you know, just butter smooth water where you can go really fast and just carve a beautiful turn. But get people started there before they go out in the surf. And then even from there, if you wanted to, for example, like we have our folding propeller, and you can start to get into that where now like you power into a swell, you let off the throttle completely, the blades fold back, and now you're gliding on this wave and you're picking up a lot of speed. You know, you actually like accelerate when you let off the throttle. It just starts to go. And now you're going really fast and you got like the cat's grip on your board. Then you come out and you carve a big cutback coming back into it. So it's pretty exciting when you can go from that lake you know, or that flat water and like start to experience the world of surfing, you know, with this craft. It's pretty cool. I recommend it to everybody.
Yeah. So the main problem with eFoils, as you know, it's very expensive. How do you see it's changing in future? Is it because of the battery being so expensive? Do you see the prices for eFoil going down in future, or they will remain like a premium product?
No, the pricing will there will definitely be a decrease in pricing. But like, you know, for example, I think I'll always have a $12,000 product. I might even have a $14,000 product, right? That with all the bells and whistles, but then try to create more of an entry level product as well, where we get, so you're not gonna be buying the same thing, but you'll be buying a less expensive version of it that may not have as much battery, or it may not have as much power, it may not go as fast, it may not be made of the same materials, it might be heavier. You know, all those things are things that you pay for. Trying to pull out weight of the unit, try to like increase the amount of power that it has and the longevity of it. You might sacrifice dollars or euros for some of those aspects. So I can definitely see the cost coming down in different models coming up. I mean, I'm working on it myself, but it's not an easy thing to do. You know, like really the initial goal for me was to make a successful eFoil. You know, like one that was really reliable. Like it's a great ride. You get what you pay for. You're gonna enjoy it. You can depend on it. Like I take my eFoil out to some areas. Like I go riding through some areas where I don't want to swim in. You can't swim in. It's all reef and rock and like, you know, you're going around cliffs and stuff. So failure is not an option on your equipment. You know, you don't want to break down in the middle of the ocean. So like that's kind of number one, is like, hey, what component or what components are necessary to make that happen, to make this thing reliable. You know, that's what we set out to build. Like, let's get a really stable platform. Let's get this thing dialed into like a great product that ships out and never comes home, right? And then from there, let's see how we can keep that same quality, but start scaling down the cost. And we're also increasing in volume too, you know? So like what other processes can we incorporate into the manufacturing that are going to give us that same quality component, but decrease our cost, you know, per unit. And so we're working on all of that. But again, it's all custom made. You know, we're doing things right now that have never been done before in the surfing industry, you know, and even in some like electric propulsion, we have a pretty unique aspect, a unique case that a unique problem that we're trying to solve, you know. So it's challenging when you're doing it like custom from the ground up like that, but we'll get there for sure. It'll be more accessible, but it's never going to be, you know, a lot of times too, like I ask people, they go, you got the guys, they come in, for example, at the trade show and they go, well, how much does it cost? And you go, well, it's $12,000. And some people go, oh, that's it? And you go, yeah, that's it. Come on into my booth here. You're my kind of customer, right? And you got the other guys that go, $12,000? Like, are you crazy? Oh, what the heck? And I go, well, what do you think it should cost? What would you pay for it? And they go, I don't know, like $2,000. I'm like, all right, I'm not going to be able to satisfy your needs for a long time, if ever.
Yeah.
You know, our non-motorized foils don't even cost $2,000. So
yeah.
We'll see. There's a happy medium in there, but it's never going to be like, you know, it's never going to be cheap. It's just too, it's too complex for that.
Yeah, you know, classic. I could buy a jet ski for that price. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, my jet ski. We have a jet ski here. We only use it like 2 or 3 times a year, right? And every time I take it out, it breaks down. Something breaks on it, and it's like I don't like to launch it because it's not reliable. It's not dependable. It's cheap metals. It's cheap components. Just because it's big doesn't mean that, you know, that it's worth more.
Yeah.
In fact, that just makes it easier, making it larger. My eFoil, we use it every day, you know, every day we go out. So like dollars per fun, like the eFoil is a way better value, much better value than any jet ski, hands down.
Exactly. Yeah, I fully agree. So you've been on the market for a long time. If it's not a secret, how many eFoils you sold so far, and also how coronavirus is influencing your shipping time and production?
Well, yeah, we've been on the market for a while. I haven't, I kind of let people know when we like shipped the first 1,000. That was well over a year ago, and I haven't really published what we're doing, but we're moving quite a few units. I think we'll do pretty well this year. We're well over 2,000 units out there. So you have a product that's really reliable and refined. If anything that you get at number, it's that. It's like, wow, okay, you can think about the refinement and the quality of that product, because that's a lot of eFoils out there. And we've been building up for a very successful year. We recognize that the market is now like catching on. People have seen it. We did run into the challenges of the COVID that started in China, and we have suppliers coming out of China. So that delayed supply from there. And then it's followed us over to the United States, where we've had some delays. But that being said, we have a really awesome supply chain and a great team of people. Like, we work with the best, and we're getting things done, and we're meeting the demand. And when the governments of the world started banning surfing, I was like, oh man, that's not good. Now you can't even go to the beach. You can't go to the water. Like, what is going on here is madness. But people are still finding a way, to get out in the water. And with summer right here, knocking at the door, we're actually seeing a big increase in demand. So it's getting busy, and like my guys are working really hard to get everything out the door. So it looks good for us.
Yeah. I look forward for another successful season. And how do you see the sport of eFoil evolving during the next years? What's coming, in your opinion?
Oh, I think we're really just at the beginning of building a market. We have not tapped into a greater market. There's still so many people that have never seen it before, and you can go riding in a new place and people are just like, what is that? Oh my goodness. Is that real? I've never seen that before. Like, we're used to it, right? Like, because we've been paying attention since day one. We've been leading, carving the path. But a lot of people that are not used to it, that have never seen it. There's a lot of people in the world, so we're still in the stages of educating a population that this exists and that it's doable. And like, really, one of our biggest projects in the company has been to create a network of affiliates where they're giving proper lessons to the public. And so like, our marketing to people is not like, hey, go out and buy an eFoil. It's, hey, go try an eFoil. Go out and try one. What are you waiting for? I've seen that before. Okay, so you've seen it, right? Now go learn something. Go learn more about it. Go sign up with an affiliate, take a lesson, right? See if you like it, see how it goes, right? Because most people go, oh, that looks amazing, but I can't do that. I'm like, no, you can do it. You can definitely do it. Like, you just got to go try it. So I think that's the biggest project for this season, probably even next season too, is getting more people, like, building awareness, getting more people out on the water. Because once you do it and you tell your friend, no, like, I did it, it's awesome, like, we were up and flying and you can totally do it. Now they believe you. They're not going to believe me, right? But you're a trusted friend. They're going to believe you, and they're going to, okay, I want to do that. And then, as we increase our manufacturing capabilities, improve the quality of the product, the reliability of the product, decrease the cost a little bit as well to kind of get into, like, normalize it, it'll just go and blow up. And with a lot of people getting involved in the sport as well, and the industry just kind of taking shape, there's going to be a lot of clever innovation as well. There's going to be a lot of people coming up with some cool stuff, and it'll just help grow the market even more. And it really is the future of personal watercraft. You know what I mean? It's so easy to launch wherever it is that you are, like whether you're on a lake and you're launching off a dock, or you're on the ocean and you're going off the beach. It's so easy to put together and throw out in the water and go for a pretty long ride, and just switching on and off between your friends. That it's the future of watercraft. And when it's quiet like that and smooth, you can't go back to, like, launching a jet ski. So I think it has a lot of room for growth. I think it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, but we can also say it's not only just cruising. You can do a lot of other things like jumping and towing other people.
I mean, we haven't even like tapped into the radical aspects of what's coming, and I've got some fun stuff for this summer that I've been working on cooking up. So we'll put out some really cool footage of that stuff. But I don't want to like get too ahead of the people either, you know, because then they go, oh, okay, this is too athletic, you know, like it's just not for me. Like, the idea is like really getting a larger demographic of people involved in the sport, you know, like I'll always cater to those high-end athletes, and I'm always building them toys to do the crazy things they want to do. But we want to get people cruising around and exploring. I think that's number one. But yeah, I mean, it'll get more radical, you know, like wakeboarding, it'll get more radical, and also the surfing aspect of it is incredible. I mean, the thing that I like to do most with my eFoil is tow another surfer into the waves, another foiler. It has opened up the world of surfing for me in like ways that I can't believe. We're towing up against the wind, going up, you know, so many kilometers out to sea, just up the beach, up, just towing out with the surfboard, and then launching off and then riding down on these open ocean swells, just flying down the ocean. It's so cool, like, and it's hard to describe for most people. They just don't understand until they do it. And it's cool. It's so quiet and like, and just smooth that you're having a conversation with the person that's towing you, and you're both out foiling. Like, the world of surfing, when it really catches on to that, it'll never be the same.
Yeah, it just opens all new horizons. It's really unbelievable.
Crazy. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Nick, for your time. I hope you have a successful season despite the COVID and everything. And I look forward to see great new boards coming from you. Thank you for your time.
All right, my friend.
All right, take care. Cheers.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.